Our next speaker, representing the Ron Paul for President campaign, Matt Dubin.
Hello, fellow Republicans. My name is Matt Dubin. I'm the Washington State Grassroots Chair for the Ron Paul 2012 campaign. The first thing I want to tell all of you is that despite what you've seen and heard in the media, Ron Paul is still running for President of the United States. To all of the Ron Paul leaders, coordinators, delegates, alternates, and volunteers, the campaign thanks you, and I thank you. We would not be here without your hard work. And to everyone else here today, take a look around. See the Ron Paul delegates in your midst. These are energetic, committed, enthusiastic, activist Republicans. Embrace them. They are the future of our party, and they are not going away. Respect them and welcome them. From the highest leadership, Mr. Kirby Wilbur, State Chair. To all of our county leaders, Ms. Lori Sotelo, King County Chair, and all the other county leaders. To all of the local party leadership across the state, we are all Republicans. We're Republicans because we share certain values, because being a Republican stands for something. It stands for a commitment to limited constitutional government. It stands for lower taxes and free markets. It stands for secure borders, a strong defense, and personal liberty. It stands for rule of law. It stands for respecting the Second Amendment. It stands for life. Ron Paul has exemplified these values consistently and unfailingly for over 25 years, often standing alone, always placing principle before expediency. Now, some of you were sent here by your constituents to support candidates who are no longer in the running. You supported those candidates for their values, for their principles. You supported them for their demonstrated commitment to those values that make us all Republicans. Many of you believe the nomination is in the bag. I don't share that belief. I believe the nomination isn't over until the votes are cast in Tampa, and that there are still issues worth fighting for. But whoever the nomination ultimately is, how do we know he will hold true to the shared values we hold dear? Will he stand firm in his opposition to Obamacare? How strong is his commitment to the Second Amendment? How strong is his commitment to life? Will he nominate conservative justices to the Supreme Court? Can we be confident about the answer to any of these questions? Do we want to send a delegation to Tampa that will give our nominee a blank slate, or do we want to hold his feet to the fire? I ask you all to join us in electing conservative delegates to the National Convention. I urge you to allow candidate speeches and listen to those speeches carefully, casting your votes for solid conservative delegates. Delegates who will fight for strong conservative planks on our national platform. Delegates who will hold our nominee accountable to the values we share. Delegates who will emphasize what makes us all Republicans, who don't try to be more like the opposition. I support Ron Paul. I will be casting my votes for constitutional government, for lower taxes, for a sensible foreign policy, for sound money, for life, and for individual liberty and responsibility. If you share those values, I ask you to join me. But even if you were not sent here to support Ron Paul, I ask you to join me in sending a message that we will no longer tolerate the same old wishy-washy, liberal, go-along-to-get-along politics of yesterday. Send a message that we will hold our candidate, whoever he may be, accountable to the core values that make us all Republicans. These values are shared by a majority of Americans, and if only we hold true to them, we will win. Together we have the power to make this party what it was always supposed to be. One more point. Many delegates here today on the floor have concerns about the Kitsap County delegation and how it was elected. If this issue is raised, Mr. Chairman. Which of those are yours and which of those are theirs? It's both. Ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate the energy and the spirit
And it's going to take us there united to defeat the Democrats. But we are on a schedule, and understand I'm not going to take against any speaker's time demonstrations, applause, or boos. You're free to do that, but the speakers are going to get their allotted time. So just understand, the more energy, the longer we'll take, and the more exhausted you'll be later, which will make it easier on me if I'm your chairman. So, thank you.
Many delegates here today have concerns about how the Kitsap County delegation was elected. If that issue is raised on the floor, I ask that you give it your careful consideration, listen to the arguments, and vote appropriately. Ladies and gentlemen, fellow Republicans, together we have the power to make this party what it was always supposed to be. Please join me in electing consistent, principled, conservative Ron Paul delegates to the National Convention in Tampa.